Okay, I don't do this a ton on YouTube, but maybe it's something that we should do more. I kind of do it a little bit over on Facebook, and that's where I do a live Q&A session. So, and these videos tend to kind of start slow, a little bit slower, and then we get more questions. So here's what I need you to do. We're going to cover three things in this video, and one of these things is going to really involve you. First thing I want to cover is just talking about the sweepstakes that we have coming up. It's one of the revenue streams we use for Dirt Bike Channel. Second, I want to talk about a little bit about my ride day with Randall Duke. And while I'm doing that, he was a winner from August. While I'm doing that, I want you guys to check in and say, hey, what's a question that you've got? So put it in the chat and we'll just kind of plow through those questions as they come in. That's really what I want to cover. So as some of you know, a lot of you probably know, one of the revenue streams that we have for Dirt Bike Channel in order to keep this thing unbiased and to keep the reviews authentic is we have these sweepstakes where you either purchase something from my website, dirtbikechannel.com, or you use one of my affiliate links and it helps to support the whole project. We did one in August. We've done another one here in October. It ends on October 31st at midnight. So Halloween night is when it all ends. So get your entries for that. The chances are amazing this time because for whatever reason, maybe it's because we just finished one. The uptake on this has been less than the other ones that I've done for about 3 years. That's not good for me, but it's good for you because that means that you have a better chance of winning now than you have had for a long time. So slowest one I've ever done. Go to my website, dirtbikechannel.com, and get your entries, or use my links for Rocky Mountain ATV. That's another way to do it. Because if you use my link with Rocky Mountain ATV, buy parts, whatever, it will give you entries. I also want to know if you guys want me to continue to do the ride days as a prize. So for the August sweepstakes and for this October sweepstakes, one of the prizes was I'm bringing you out. If you're the winner, I'm bringing you out to Utah, put you up in a hotel. I pay for the flight, the hotel, and we do a ride day. Just finished doing that last week with my August winner, Randall Duke, and it was really fun. It was a lot of fun. He's from Tennessee. He came out here to Utah. It was a totally different style of riding, and I think he had a good time. But let me know down in the comments if you think that's a good idea, especially over here in the chat. Which I'm going to get to some of these questions here in just a second. So that opens it up to live Q&A. So let's just kind of plow through it. Bryce says, howdy. Dead Dilly says, happy I made it here. John Doe, I'm sure that's not your real name. John says, good morning. Afternoon from Washington. Okay, so Young Simba says, Yamaha WR 250F or KTM 250 EXC. So, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're planning on doing. Young Simba, both of those bikes are good bikes and they both have some advantages. I think from the times that I've ridden the Yamahas, especially the WRs, they appear to be a little bit more tame and have a little bit more bottom end than the KTMs. The KTMs tend to be a little bit more top end heavy. We're talking about the 4-strokes. And so it just depends on what you want to do. A lot of people, there are some people still out there that just have never been able to figure out the air fork. I think a lot of those people are just not adjusting air pressure or playing around with that a little bit. But the benefit of going with the Yamaha is you're using, the best front fork in the industry, or at least the one that's the most widely accepted as very good. And the front fork is that KYB front fork, the one that is, you can get it tuned to any suspension shop. So that is a benefit of going with the Yamaha WR. Tanner says, love my hat. It looks awesome. Tony says, hello from Omaha. We've got Marco here from Syracuse, New York. Okay, so Talbot Real Estate Utah says, do you ever disclose some of your favorite single track trails in Utah? Only every single day. I don't do it publicly. I don't share trails publicly because here's the thing. Half of the people out there want me to share every trail that I'm riding publicly. The other half will be so pissed off if I share trails publicly that there's a ton of backlash. So I'm going to piss people off either way. So years and years ago, I decided to err on the side that feels better to me, which is I'm not going to share where I'm riding publicly on a public post to YouTube. But if you email me, which happens every single day, multiple times a day, I'll tell you where I'm riding in a private setting because that feels like it's the best to me. So, oh, Daniel says, "What if?" So we've got some comments here. Ride day sounds awesome. Daniel says, "What if the winner lives in Utah?" I think what we do in that case is it's like a cash value thing, up to $1,000 or something that you could opt for. You can also just opt out of it, but that would be the deal. Um, let's see. Looking for some other things here. Ride days are a great thing. Marco says. Sean Tibby says, "Yeah, you should keep the ride day." Kenneth says, "Hello from Missouri. I just bought a new T-shirt last night." Thank you, Kenneth. That's amazing. I really appreciate that. Oh, John Doe says his name is Troy. Perfect. Um, so, oh, here's a good one. Matthew Christie said, "Do you think two strokes are making their way back?" So this is interesting. It looks like I'm a little bit overexposed. I'm going to bring down this light here. I've got a light. What happens if I just turn that off? It's probably fine if I turn it off because I've got some light coming through the window here. I don't know. Um, yeah, I'm going to turn it off because this camera is overexposing. Anyway, so the question is, do you think two strokes are making a comeback? This is interesting. I think two strokes are making a comeback in the off-road world. I think it's obvious that they are. In the motocross world, I don't think they are making a comeback. I was doing my workout this morning and I was listening to Pulp MX. It was the Pulp MX show. It's obviously a motocross show. And they were just jabbering. It was one from a few weeks ago, or I don't even know when it was. And they were jabbering about how, none of these manufacturers are going to bring two strokes back. And they were talking specifically about Yamaha. And they're like, oh, the sales of the YZ, 125 and the YZ 250 are not good. And I'm like, well, that's because there's no marketing around it. But those guys are all like, hey, they're never going to bring this back. They've gone so far down the rabbit hole on four strokes with racing and motocross and supercross. Their kind of feeling was they'll do electric bikes in racing before they'll bring two strokes back. I don't know that I disagree with that, but one thing they're completely ignoring is this whole off-road segment and this whole segment of people who are not racing competitively. And that's you and me. And for us, the two strokes make a lot of sense. And they've made a lot of improvements in the last 20 years. When the AMA forgot all about two strokes, KTM, Husky, Gas, Beta, Sherco, these companies have continued to improve the two stroke and make it more rideable and more usable for like hard enduro stuff, trail riding, which is a lot. And I think I think sometimes these Japanese manufacturers forget that most of the people who own a dirt bike don't need to hit a 90-foot triple 20 feet out of a corner. That's only the people who are on TV. So, yeah, I think two strokes have made a huge comeback in the off-road segment, but the segment that everyone cares about, kind of like they likened supercross and motocross to the F1 of off-road dirt bike racing, and it's true. And that F1, which is kind of like the pinnacle of moto racing in cars, the motocross and supercross, two strokes aren't making a comeback there, and it sucks. So I don't know. Let's see. Have you ever seen? Slice of Butter says, "Have you ever seen the GPX 250R two stroke?" I have seen it. I haven't seen it in person. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with these these Chinese bikes. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. A lot of the stuff we have, a lot of the stuff we consume here in the US is made in China. Ton of it is. Tons of it is. Some of the products that I sell, you can't get some of these things unless you get it in China. I've spent a lot of time trying to find things and source things that are made in the USA, or at the very least, not made in China. I've had to order a bunch of stuff on Amazon recently, and it's unbelievable. Like almost all of it is made in China. Problem is, I feel like from just the noise that I'm hearing, it seems like China isn't always playing fair, and they're stealing these patents and stealing these designs. So we're outsourcing and it even happens in dirt bikes. A ton of the stuff that probably is made that's put on your KTMs or your Yamahas and stuff, probably a lot of those parts are manufactured in China. And then they're just assembled in, say, Japan or Austria or whatever. But it just makes me uncomfortable because I feel like a lot of this stuff is kind of like being intellectual property is being stolen. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I do think we need an entry level bike We don't really have that. Like an entry-level trail bike, you either go with like a really, really toned down version of a Honda or a Yamaha that's like a super mellow trail, like my CRF 125F for my daughter, or you go with a full-on crazy race bike. There's nothing in the middle, and that's where the GPX 250R two-stroke kind of fills that void at a little bit lower price point, but it just makes me uncomfortable, the Chinese thing. Eli Filthy 69 says, "Do you ride AF Canyon?" Yeah, I ride there every year. Well, let's see. I'm riding MGR Mueller 72 said, "I'm riding BRP." BRP. Any good suspension tips for a 5'6" guy? I don't know what you mean. Is it Billet Racing Products? 5'6" is tough because you're right there in this range where it's if you're any lower than 5'6", lowering the bike makes a lot of sense. I hesitate telling anyone to lower a motorcycle because I feel like you just need to keep your feet on the pegs and you only ever need to put 1 foot down. One of my good riding buddies is 5'6" and he's never lowered a bike. He has all these bikes. And we have to remember that these bikes are based off this motocross and supercross thing, and most of those guys are between 5'6" and 5'8", 5'9". That's kind of what they are. If you look at them as a group, these professional riders. Now, if they're riding supercross or motocross, they're not having to put their feet down all the time, except for put their leg out maybe through a corner. So it's tough. If you're 5'6", it's tough. It's easy for me to say at 6 feet tall, hey, don't lower your bike. But I know that doesn't really resonate with a 5'6" guy. They're like, hey, I need to lower it. So I would say, look at maybe Beta. Beta is about an inch shorter than all of these other brands: Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki, KTM, Kawasaki, Husqvarna, Gas. The Beta bikes are about an inch shorter. That makes a big difference. If you do decide to lower a bike, I would suggest using a reputable company that tries to keep the geometry of the bike the same. We don't want to just lower the back end and not lower the front end. What you're doing, though, is you're taking capability away from the bike. But hey, if you're 5'6" and you're struggling, the main thing is we want you to be comfortable and we want you to have fun. And if you feel like the bike is way, way too tall, you're not going to ride it. And so that you're in a tough position at 5'6". If you're 5'5", 5'4", I say, yeah, you have to lower it. You don't have a choice. 5'6" is tough. Let's see. Say a couple people says good morning. Okay, so I'm all about, or Deadly Dilly says I'm about to buy the 2022. Oh shoot, I lost it. Oh, dang it, I lost it. He was talking about. Oh yeah. I'm about to buy the 2022 YZ250 FX, and there isn't much reviews. All the spotlights go to the 450. Any reviews you have on? No, I don't have it on the 2022. The last time I had the YZ250 FX was a 2020 model. You can go back to that. I loved it. I don't think they've changed it a drastic amount. They try to update little things here, suspension tweaks here, a teeny little motor tweak here, a mapping change here. I don't know all the changes that they made to the 2022 bike, but the 2020 YZ250 FX is in my top 10. I didn't like that bike. I freaking love that bike. And every time I've had a chance to ride someone else's, I'm just like, dang, this thing is amazing. So yeah, the 250s always, they get kind of the shaft. The 450s are the ones that get all the pub, but I prefer the 250s every time that I've done it. Dolly says, I'm from California, but live in Canada at the moment, so I can't enter your drawing. You just have to be a resident of the United States. I cannot issue a prize. First, I can't ship to Canada the products, and I can't award a prize across international borders. If you have an address in the United States, ship it there. And that's what we would do. Let's see. If I flew, so Midwest MX says, if I flew to the USA, would you take me out riding somewhere ridiculously hard? I covered this in I covered this yesterday in a Facebook Live. So ride requests. I get a lot of ride requests. And this is difficult. This is a difficult subject to broach, to approach, to cover. Let me back up just a little bit. I got into riding to be alone, to go out in the wilderness and to be out in nature and get recharged. What I've learned in the last little while by reading books and things is I'm an introvert. I get energy and I get peace and I get that kind of recharging by being with myself, typically out in the mountains somewhere. When I'm with a group of people, yes, I've been in enterprise sales and I've done sales my whole life. I can talk to people and I can be the life of the party if I need to. And I can get up in front of 1,000 people and do a public speaking event. And that's kind of exciting to me, this challenge of that. But I don't get recharged by it. It's draining for me. Being around groups is draining for me. And I don't make a lot of new friends. And so then put a pin in that. Now I create this thing and this dirt bike channel thing, and I never set out to do it. I didn't set out to become, um, a well-known person or anything. But now I have a lot of people that are asking me to ride all the time. And it isn't anything personal. It's not that I don't want to ride with any one person. It's just, where do you draw the line? I don't know. It's a difficult subject. It's a difficult subject for me to address because, and first off, and the other thing too is I got 4 kids. I've got a very, very busy schedule. Um, this thing, the last 3 years of doing this thing, Dirt Bike Channel full time, it's the hardest money I've ever made. The amount of stress that I have is like a spotlight right on me, and so I have one day a week that I will, maybe if I'm lucky, one day a week I'll go riding. That's it. I don't have time to go riding multiple days a week. I just can't. I can't keep this business going, at least at the stage that it is, if I'm riding more than once a week. And I don't want to burn out. So it's just tough. It's tough to like find a way to respond to people. And I let my assistants do it now and say, hey, look, he's really busy. He can't do it. But that's the truth is it's hard for me. It's hard for me to just, I'm not the guy that did this. I'm not the guy that is riding dirt bikes for the social aspect of it. And I hope that doesn't come across mean or condescending. I'm just being honest with you. And it's tough, because you want to give back. And I enjoyed going riding with my sweepstakes winner, but I don't want to just open it up and be like, hey, yeah, if you email him, he'll go riding with you. I can't do that. So moving on, CR500. Yeah, I don't have any interest in a CR500. Oh, yeah. So David says, so David has 2 comments. Got a 2022 TE250 2-stroke. First day out, I bumped into 3 other 2-strokers, first TPI bike, and so far so good. Do you trust without kickstart? The answer is yes, I do trust it without the kickstart. I wish that these bikes came with a backup Kickstarter, but I will tell you this. If I have to choose between kickstart only or electric start only, I take the electric start only so fast your head would spin. In all of the time that I've been riding, the only times I've seen a bike that wouldn't start because of the electric start is if we flipped a bike over and we severed the wire for the starter, or the starting switch, or we've busted starting switches completely apart and then we've just hot wired them. But I have never, in my riding and with my group of riders, I have never seen a time when the starter motor failed. Even on the older KTMs before they redesigned it in 2017. In 2017, they redesigned the place where the starter was, and it's so much better. People complained about it before that time, but I'd never had one fail, ever. I'd never been on a ride when a starter failed. So what I do is I put a really good battery in the bikes. On some of the bikes, I put a backup start switch just in case I bust the other one, and that way I wouldn't have to hotwire it. But yes, I totally trust it. I have not been stranded because I didn't have a kickstart. The only time I was on a bike that I was stranded where it wouldn't start, it did have a kickstart, and it didn't matter. There was a blown fuse, and I was too dumb to figure it out. What's your opinion on dual sports? I haven't gotten into dual sports yet. Let's see. Never rode a 2-stroke. Thank you for the info. Just looking for some other questions here we can get to. I don't want to take too much time here. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Kevin Ryan says, what do you dislike about Suzuki bikes? I don't know anything about them other than the colors, and they're cheaper, but wanted to know your input on them. So here's the problem with Suzuki, Kevin. They don't make a bike that I'm interested in. Period. Full stop. All of the other manufacturers that I can think of make either one or many bikes that I'm interested in. Suzuki doesn't make a bike I'm interested in. Suzuki hasn't put much R&D or much effort into their motorcycles for a long time. That's why they're a lot cheaper. If I was going to ride motocross, there's some reasons to get a Suzuki because you can get it for cheaper. Um, but yeah, they haven't put a lot of energy and effort into them for a long time, and they've completely ignored the off-road market. Completely ignored. So I don't have any interest in the RMs. Brady 777 says, "What do you think about the KTM 150 XEW TPI?" I haven't had a chance to ride one, so I don't. I'm gonna just plead the fifth on that. Dolly says, "I'm 5'4" and I don't lower any of my bikes either." Dolly Ferrier. I just keep the bike the way it was and add better suspension. So interesting. Let's see. I like the Rapid Fire podcast. So Beverly Boy says, "Hi Kyle. I like the Rapid Fire podcast. Hope you do more like this. I've got a couple people I want to get on the podcast with interviews. I've just been slacking on it." Midwest MX says, "I think it would be great to collab and so much fun." Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe. Totally. I don't want to burn any bridges or whatever. Right now, it's just a tough time in my life right now. I don't want to get into it, but it's a tough time. A lot of changes over here. I like the TPI. Let's see. I'm in the same boat with you. So yeah, Midwest MX, he says, "I'm in the same boat with you on the YouTube, brother. I feel your stress. YouTube is harder than a normal job for sure." I could get into that a little bit. And I have maybe on some of my podcasts or maybe over on Facebook, but this ain't easy. This is not this is the hardest money I've ever made, and it's the most acute stress that I've ever felt. I've felt stress before because I was like one of the top sales guys at a $1 billion technology internet security company. Either top sales guy or second guy or third guy, just depending on the quarter. I know what stress is, but it's more acute now when it's just me, and I've got a couple of assistants, but it's an acute stress. It's pretty crazy. So yeah. Hobbit says, "Burned out by your own success, go to 1-800-DIAPER." So yeah, funny for you. That's fun. Owen says, "Would you ever get a YZ125X?" Yeah, I totally would. Says, let's say Dirt Freak 1 says, "Thanks for offering to fly winners out and riding with them. Are you ever going to get into riding track?" Bryce Taylor has that question. Yeah, I'd like to. I bought a track bike here at the end of the summer, and I went and I rode it one time at one of the tracks up here. And what I found out was these tracks, you guys are going to laugh, but I'm like, these tracks are not open very often. They're open like 2 days a week here in Utah, and it wasn't working out with my schedule. And then one of the tracks was closed for like a month. And then I went and did a ride, like a motocross training with AJ Catanzaro in Southern Utah, and I loved that. It was so much fun, and I haven't ridden that bike since August. So I've had the bike since July. I've ridden it 2 times. I want to do track riding now only because I feel like it's a big blind spot in my riding. It is. But the problem with track riding is then I got to go out with a ton of other people. I have to go only when they're open. And it doesn't really fit great with my schedule right now, where I can go ride my dirt bike up in the desert or the mountains or whatever anytime at any point of the day. I can't do that. It's like an evening ride at the track, and it's right when I need to do stuff with my family, or Saturday, and I try to keep Saturdays completely open for family stuff. So track riding has been tough for me on that. Let's see. Oh, so Kyle Langworthy says, "Kyle, I bought some Dirt Bike Channel goggles to get entered. I know it says on the website you don't have tear-offs for them, but do you know what might fit?" Man, this is hard. This is the problem with offering products and creating new products. I thought that I was going to be able to create goggles and have goggles made for me, and I thought I would just be able to, we can just buy this goggle over here or this goggle tear-off over here. I tried like 5, 6, 7, 8 different tear-offs. I couldn't make it work. I don't know. I need to hire somebody to create a product like that. So I took it off my website. I took the fact that they have tear off posts because I don't have any that fit. That's my problem. I'm trying to bring new things out to you guys, and it's tough. So sorry. I don't know any of the flipping tear offs that would fit my own goggles. That's on me. That's bad. My bad. It is so hard to get this stuff too. I don't think I will restock them. because it takes like a year to get things made. When are you going to get a 2022 KTM 500 to test out? I feel like I'm so, and this is by, it's Carball, sorry, Carbaja, Carbaha F, Carbaha F. I feel like I'm so knee deep in KTM's. I would like to get a 500 four-stroke, but I'm tempted to just get like a Sherco because I just have had so many different KTM's. What bikes are you giving away next? There will be two, whatever bikes. So right now there's 3 bikes that you can choose from for the December giveaway. I'll probably give 2 bikes away, whatever is left. It'll either be the motocross, probably be the motocross bike and then one of the indoor bikes, just depending on what is left over. After that, I'm getting a Gas EC300, a couple other KTM's for my personal riding, and then I don't know. I'd like to get a Honda CRF 250 RX. Pedro Martins. Is this Pedro Martins that used to work at Digicert? He says, keep up the good work. Probably can be, right? Have you thought, so Kenneth says, have you thought about a riding weekend, have 25 to 30 fans come and ride with you and your friends? Yeah, I've thought a great deal about it. I've thought a great deal about it, but I haven't pulled the trigger for the reasons I highlighted earlier. Go back and read that. Devin says, for someone, and I don't want to take this too much longer. Devin says, for someone only interested in trails and single track and no 2-stroke experience, which of your 3 bikes would you recommend? Of the 3 bikes that I have right now, I'd probably recommend the 300 XCW for just trails and single track, or even a KTM 250 XCW. I still have it because Randall's bike still hasn't left. My Hot August Sweepstakes winner, I use moto shippers and I just missed like one of their eastbound trucks. And so I still have, I would say either like a 250, like a KTM 250 XEW or a 300 XEW or a Sherco 300 SE or a Beta 300 RR. Those would be the ones. Yeah, just skimming through here. Here's interesting. You probably get asked this question a lot. Hopefully I can get, it's from Brendan Clark. You probably get this question asked a lot. Hopefully I can get a 2-second answer. I'm 6'7", 280 pounds. Used to ride as a teenager. Would I be fine going onto a 300 given my height and weight? Thanks in advance. The answer is yes, absolutely, Brendan. A 300 2-stroke. I have seen 350-pound dudes being pulled around on these 300 2-strokes. Yes, absolutely get it. And if you have the money, if you have the means, I say abso-freaking-lutely. At 6 foot, sorry, this is not a 2-second answer. At 6'7", though, you're probably going to need to add some handlebar risers in order to be able to stand up on that bike because you're 7 inches taller than me. I normally don't advocate getting handlebar risers, but you're 7 inches taller than me, and you won't be able to stand up on the bike unless you get some sort of bar risers. But I totally say yes. 6'7", 280 pounds. I want to say hell yes, but this is a family show. Heck yes. Get a 300 2-stroke and do it. Yes. Awesome. Oh, hey, Randall says, hey, Randall's on here. Randall Duke says, hey, Kyle, riding was awesome. Keep them going. Legend says, when are you going to review more Shercos? Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. So here's a good one. It's Cecline, Cecline. So Cecline 86. Have you ever thought about doing a nationwide tour? Possible ride days and meet and greet with fans. I haven't thought about doing a nationwide tour because it's really hard for me to get out. It would cost so much money, and it's just all out of my pocket. People say to me like, hey, come here to ride in New York, and it would give you some additional content and you'd make, to throw up on YouTube. The average YouTube video I put out makes $50. And that's after 6 years of doing it, 900 videos and 200 and almost 80,000 subscribers. The economics of driving or going somewhere across country or whatever and putting out a video here or there for $50 or $100 for that YouTube ad revenue, it doesn't work out. That says nothing about the time off of making videos and the time and the travel time and the wear and tear on a truck and all of that stuff and hotels and food and everything, I would be so far in the hole. Yeah, it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy right now. So, yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna cut you guys loose. I've been going here for 30 minutes. I don't know if yeah, I've probably never done a 30-minute Q&A thing on YouTube. Let me know down in the comments if you want more of these YouTube Q&As, because I could do it. We could totally do it. We could do like I don't know, like we could pick a day, like a Q&A Friday, or I don't even know. But let me know down in the comments if you want to do more of this type of stuff. That would be really helpful to me. I'd like to see what type of content you guys want me to create. I try to have a wide variety of stuff, some trail rides, some gear reviews, some bike reviews, some whatever, some entertaining stuff. Just try to create a bunch of different content for a wide audience of people. And I just want to say thank you for everybody. Thank you for the support. If you use my parts links with Rocky Mountain ATV, or if you've used my Amazon links or my motorsport links, or if you've bought anything from my website, you are literally the reason why this still exists. And I cannot thank you enough. This has been stressful. It's been hard, but it's been rewarding. And it's because of you. The reason why it's worked is because of you. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. My family thanks you. And hopefully we get another amazing, awesome, deserving winner like we for the sweepstakes that ends here in October, like we did in August. I mean, you get a guy that's a registered nurse at a cancer treatment center. I've had some really, really cool winners over the years. And I hope I get another really, really well-deserving person here. So thank you so much for your support. I'm going to cut you loose. I've got to do some video editing and get back to work. So thanks so much. Leave a single track. Appreciate it, guys.